So the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't have Bob's hammer, but the meeting is in session. I guess an iPhone's a good hammer if you don't hit it too hard. Oh, welcome, Karthik. Glad that you're here. The theme of our meeting tonight is springtime. We'll play with that theme in our table topics as we go along. I'm going to go ahead and send the meeting over to the Toastmaster for the evening. That's Alex Gibbons. Alex, please take over.
Thank you so much, Mr. President in place of education, fellow Toastmasters and our honored guests. I'm very excited about our meeting tonight. We'll have a prepared speech that will be delivered by Jean Symington Craig. And we also have a round of table topics and with the theme of springtime. And I'm sure that Sue has prepared some exciting questions for us. But first, I will start by introducing our tonight's role players. And we will start with Sean Fry, who will be our timer. Sean, could you please introduce your role to us?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight I get to be the timer, and I'll be timing Jean's speech. I believe her speech is between 5 and 7 minutes. So at the 5-minute mark, I'll show Jean the green card. And then at the 6-minute mark, we'll show the yellow. And at the 7-minute mark, we'll have the red card. And the same goes with table topics. Tonight we'll have some table topics questions, and we'll start with 1 minute with the green card, 1.5 minutes with the yellow card, and then 2 minutes for the red card. And everyone has to come in at 2 minutes and 29 seconds on their table topics in order to qualify. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Sean. Our next role player will be Karthik as our grammarian. Karthik, could you please introduce your role to us?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I have to a meeting. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, as a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And the word of the day is balmy. I think I'm pronouncing it right. B-A-L-M-Y, balmy or balmy. It means, so if I am referring it to in terms of weather, so it means pleasantly warm. The balmy days of late summer, or the balmy days of late summer. And there is another meaning which I'm not meaning here, which is extremely foolish or eccentric. This is a balmy decision, but considering the topic of the meeting, I'm referring with reference to the weather. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karthik. Our next role player will be Vivek as our counter. Vivek, could you please explain your role tonight?
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and honored guest. It is my pleasure to take on the role of counter for today's meeting. And as counter for today's meeting, I shall keep note of the filler words used by every speaker during the meeting. The filler words are the words used to fill the pauses like I shall also keep note of the repeats, and I shall present my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Vivek. Vivek is also our joke master of the night. He'll make us laugh after our round of table topics. And then we have Dan, who will be our general evaluator, and he will lead us through the evaluation process. And he will also be evaluating our evaluators later. And then I'll now call Art to introduce to read the objectives of Jean's speech, as Art will be her evaluator. Art, could you please share the information with us?
Yes. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, tonight Jean is giving speech number 3. Let's skip this one. In Presentation Mastery Level 2, she's doing Project 3, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. The objective of her speech is to clearly define how mentoring is envisioned within the Toastmasters universe, and to share a previous experience that she's had as a protege being mentored by someone in really any aspect of her life, to illustrate mentoring as a process and to help clearly distinguish Toastmasters mentoring from any other kind of mentoring that a person might have the opportunity to take advantage of. So the speech will be about a time when she was a protege, and she'll get to describe anything about that experience that she feels is relevant to helping distinguish mentoring in the Toastmasters universe from any other kind of mentoring. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Art. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker of the night. Jean has been a Toastmaster since 2006, and she's a distinguished Toastmaster. She has been an area director and served in a variety of officer roles within the Golden Speakers Club, including being 3 times the club president. And in addition, she serves as a club liaison at the Conscious Communicators Toastmaster Club at the Iowa State Penitentiary Maximum Security Facility in Fort Madison, where she's also a member. Tonight, Jean is doing the 3rd and final speech in the Presentation Mastery Level 2, which is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. And the title of her speech is You Can Do It. Please help me warmly welcome Jean.
Me be president? You can't be serious. I have no idea what to do with that. I've only been a member for less than a year. This was my startled response to Tom Trainer in the spring of 2007. He had just told me that the club's nominating committee wanted to nominate me to be the next club president. I had a lot of doubt about that recommendation, but his assurance that he would be there with me, help me through it, and that I could do it gave me the confidence to accept that role. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, the following year was one of the most transformative years that I have had in my life. Learning about Toastmasters, gaining leadership experience, and gaining confidence at the helm of what was arguably one of the highest performing most dynamic clubs in the district. Let me tell you about Tom Trainer, who became my Toastmasters and my Golden Speakers mentor from the time I joined Toastmasters in 2006. Tom was a double distinguished Toastmaster, or DTM. It's like the PhD of Toastmasters, which means that he had gone through and accomplished all of the requirements for being a DTM twice, with a third to follow. Tom and his wife, Cindy, had been leaders of the club since 1999. In addition, Tom knew all of the larger district people. He understood regulations and rules. He just was a very all-around Toastmaster member. As a mentor, Tom brought 3 critical skills to his mentoring of me: knowledge, availability, and encouragement. First, as I mentioned, Tom had an inordinate amount of knowledge of Toastmasters, including all different levels: club, area, division, and the district. I knew that if I asked Tom a question, I would get the correct answer. He was a walking encyclopedia of Toastmasters. As an example of his knowledge applied at the club level, he developed a strategy for achieving annually the club's achievement level of President's Distinguished, which is the most prestigious level to achieve as a club. And not only achieving that, but achieving it first in the district, beating out all the other clubs. It was called the First to 10 Award, 10 meaning the 10 goals that you have to achieve in order to get to that level. Golden Speakers got that roughly 11 times consecutively. We were the club to beat. I'm just going to say, Tom taught me the strategy for doing this. He answered all my questions. He addressed all the angles. And as a result, I was able to help future presidents also keep that momentum rolling. In addition, I was able to take that strategy to the Iowa State Penitentiary Club, where they applied it and they started getting President's Distinguished at their club. It was so fulfilling to have that done. Secondly, Tom was available. No matter when or where, if I had a question or something I wanted to run by him, Tom would have an answer, or he would just be available to address whatever I was needing. Not only was available, but he was also listening very carefully, considering my comments, focused on what I wanted to say. Tom, as I got to know him better, he would have me chuckling because he would say, when I had something I wanted to run by him, get his opinion or have him help me in some way, he wouldn't hesitate. And he would just say, "Yes, boss." I love that when he would say, "Yes, boss." Like, like the roles had switched. He was mentoring me in how to be available as a knowledgeable, helpful Toastmaster. Finally, Tom gave me encouragement. When I expressed all those doubts about being able to do this job, Tom stepped in, gave me assurance and confidence that I could do it. You heard my reaction at the beginning of my talk, how I felt. Tom just said, "Jean, you can do it. There are other members who have done this. They'll be there to help you, as will I. Nobody knows what they're doing. That's why the district has officer training and materials that you can check in on. Don't worry. You can do this and you're going to love it." Actually, all of those comments turned out to be true. When my president's year was ending, I didn't want it to be over. I had grown in that position, but I also knew it was someone else's turn to have that opportunity. As the immediate past president, I got to now be the mentor of the incoming president in the same way that Tom had mentored me. Tom, of course, would still be there to provide that knowledge, that availability, and that encouragement to the new president as well. Tom had mentored me in how to be an effective Toastmasters Club president, and he had modeled how to be an effective mentor. I am forever grateful to Tom Trainer for the directions that he set me on and the growth that he enabled me to experience.
Thank you so much, Jean. So, timer, Sean, could you please put 2 minutes, mark 2 minutes on the timer, and we can all send Jean a direct message to give her some of our evaluation, personal evaluation of her speech.
That is 2 minutes, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's see what we have next in our agenda. So now we're going to be doing table topics, and Sue Fry will be our table topics, our Madam Table Topics. So take over, please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It's my honor to present 10 table topics tonight based on our theme, springtime. And I look forward to hearing everyone's responses. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
I can volunteer.
Oh, all right. So I have questions 1 through 10. What would you choose?
I'll take question number 1.
Question number 1. What is your favorite thing about spring and why?
Thanks, Madam Table Topics, fellow Toastmasters, and our honored guest. Just the thought of spring makes me smile. I am so happy and looking forward to the warmer days. I think that's one of my favorite things. There are many things that I enjoy about springtime. Definitely the warmer weather. I am from a tropical country. I'm from Brazil. So I'm not designed for cold weather. I try to, but it's very hard. So naturally, I am longing those nice warm days. Another thing that I enjoy about springtime is just to be able to wear one layer. Just a dress and maybe a flip-flop and not have to worry about putting all these layers and scarves and hats. Just one layer, flip-flops, and I'm ready to go. And of course, another thing that I love about springtime is the flowers. I love seeing, just right now, as the weather starts to be nice, get warmer, you can already see the green coming out of the ground, and soon we'll have some flowers. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. Thanks for the question.
And for our next question, do we have any volunteers? Yes, Karthik. Which question would you like? We have questions 2 through 10.
Two.
Number 2.
Hmm.
Do you have any special traditions or activities that you enjoy during the spring season?
Table. Hear me now? Okay. Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. So until coming to US, I have not experienced spring because I was in Tamil Nadu, which is southernmost state in India. So India has many states, and some states would have experienced spring season, but the state that I lived in, we have 3 main seasons: summer, monsoon, and then spring. So monsoon is from June to September, and then from October to February is winter, and then from March to May is summer. So I have not seen snow as well. So anyway, coming back to the question on spring, I have not experienced it before coming to US. I don't have a specific hobby or something that I do in spring. But one thing that I learned after coming to US is kayaking, which I would preferably do in summer rather than spring. But this is one of the activities that I learned during spring, and then followed it on summer, and that is the hobby that I can share in the meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. We have a few more minutes. Would anyone else like to volunteer for a table topic? Yes, Babak. So we have questions 3 through 10 available tonight.
Okay. I will not break the continuous loop, and I will go with question number 3.
Very well. Question number 3. In what ways does spring inspire you to make changes or try new things?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. In what way does spring inspire me? Well, spring is my favorite season, and I hope it is the same for most of us. And most of us do really like spring because it inspires us, it brings enthusiasm and energy in our lives in many ways. As mentioned in the today's agenda itself, like it was mentioned, that the Lord created hope probably the time when he created spring. So that shows the importance of spring and why most people like them. For me particularly, I like spring because it provides me a new sense of hope and enthusiasm. The flowers are blooming, the nature is regaining its beauty, the days are longer, the weather is great and balmy, you can have fun, you can have a great time. And it brings a new sense of hope to your lives. Like you see everyone having fun, everyone going outside, everyone meeting their friends, enjoying outdoor activities. And it seems like life is so beautiful. And it inspires you to take on new activities and take on new challenges in your life. Like a flower regrows during spring, so you can also redefine your goals and you can work a new project. It gives you new sense of inspiration during spring. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Vivek. Yes. We have time for more questions. Dan, what question would you like? We have questions 4 through 10 available.
Just before I pick my question, I'm going to mention to Josephine that she's welcome to play, to try a table topic if she feels inspired. I'm going to take question 4. Why break the pattern?
All right. Question number 4. What is your favorite flower that blooms in the spring? And tell us why.
Madam Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. My favorite spring flower, I call an iris. I think some people call them flags. I believe the reason that it is my favorite is that in the place that I grew up in the panhandle of Texas, my mother planted irises. And so I saw them every spring. They're quite beautiful. There's really not another flower that I see in North America that looks that same way with those drooping petals. But I've always associated irises and spring and the good feeling of remembering my mother and things that she enjoyed. There was sort of a dark side to it when I was growing up. My job as the only male child in the household was to keep care of the yard. I did the mowing and the digging of the dandelions, etc. My father had planted a type of grass called Bermuda. And it's, in one sense, you could say that it's extremely invasive. It grows everywhere with vigor. It grows rapidly into flower beds. So any given late, balmy spring day, you might find me with some sort of digging implement trying to get rid of all of the Bermuda grass that was trying to choke out my mother's irises so that they could shine in all their glory and come back the next time. That's easily my favorite flower. I'm glad I got to tell you about it.
Thank you, Dan. We have a few more questions if anyone would like to volunteer for a table topic. We have questions 5 through 10 available. I see Sean volunteering. And what question would you like? What table topic would you like tonight?
I'm going to go off cue and go with number 10.
Number 10.
Does anybody have the timing device handy? So Sean's our timer. Could somebody time him? Okay, Alex.
So Sean, your table topic for tonight is how do you prepare for the change in weather that comes with springtime?
Madam Table Topics Master, honored Toastmasters, and Josephine, our guest. Spring is not my favorite time of the year. I'm more of a fall guy. And I love to be outside all the time. And of course, I travel for work. So I've always got a spring coat, a winter coat, raincoat, hats, gloves. I got it all in the car all the time. So as Sue knows, I love to walk the trails in Fairfield. And I've always got springtime on the brain about this time of the year, like, let's go trail walk. Let me come up to the Lord's cupboard and let's go walk after work. And of course, I'm sitting all day, so I want to get out and walk, where Sue is at the Lord's cupboard doing 7,000 or 8,000 steps. So she's like, yeah, I don't think so. We're going to the coffee shop, which is what we did today. And it was a beautiful, almost balmy day, about 3:30 in the afternoon. And then it kind of got cool out and people were walking out at Chautauqua. And it was really nice to see everyone walking, although some of the folks looked pretty cold, like they didn't pack their spring gear, because we saw people in shorts and it looked a little chilly. So I am very thankful for having a car full of all kinds of weather clothes. And I love springtime. And Sue and I look forward to it every year, getting the grill out and enjoying the patio. And it's been a real blessing, I think, this year with just the easing into spring. So we don't have to pack as many clothes or worry about what we're wearing. It's just nice to leave. Like, here, I got my sweatshirt on for the day, and that was nice. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Sean. Do we have any other volunteers for table topics tonight?
So I believe we have time for one more, because I think Art still has to give his evaluation of Jean's speech.
Absolutely. Okay. Would anyone like to volunteer for that last table topic tonight? I see Josephine smiling. Whoops.
Oh, you're on mute, Josephine.
I was trying to tell her she was on mute and I was on mute, so that wasn't going so well.
Okay, I'll try one.
Stretch the muscles.
I guess it has to start from somewhere, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
So we have a few questions left. We have number 5, 6, 7, and 9.
7.
7. If you could travel anywhere in the world to experience spring, where would you go? And tell us why.
If I can travel anywhere in the world to experience spring, I will choose Durban, South Africa. Durban, South Africa, of course, because it is south of the hemisphere. Their weather is opposite of the weather we have here in the United States. And spring is so beautiful there, looking over the Indian Ocean, feeling the breeze, and just watching people as they stroll, transitioning from winter to spring, always amazes me. The one thing that I really enjoy about spring there is just feeling the breeze from the ocean. and 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 the jacaranda, I think is the name of the flower there, and watching that flower bloom, and all the purple leaves falling on the ground and everywhere always amazes me. I am a spring summer person for sure. So whenever spring is coming, whenever spring is coming, I always get even more enlivened because I know warm, hot weather is nearby. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Josephine. And Madam Toastmaster, I will pass this on to you.
Thank you so much, Sue.
Mhm.
Thanks for all these wonderful questions. All right, let's check with our timer. Sean, which speakers qualified tonight?
I have great news. Everyone qualified.
That's great. Could you please share their names so we can just remember everyone?
Yes. So just for table topics, or do you want to know Jean's time as well?
Just for table topics for now. Mhm.
Okay. So Alex, you were at 129.
Just the names.
Oh,
Just so-
okay. Okay. So we had Alex went first, and then Karthik was second. Vivek was third. Then Dan. Then myself. And Josephine closed us out.
Great. All right, so we can send our votes to our favorite speaker of the night, and you can share that to me privately using the chat, and you can put TT in front of it. All right. And as we are doing the votes, I will check with Art if Art would be ready to do the evaluation of Jean's speech.
Yes.
All right, great. All right.
I've had the good fortune to hear this speech from Jean a couple of other times, and to have been a member of the club at the time she was being mentored by Tom in the role of being a club president, and to experience how the club operated at that time. I believe that Jean excelled in one particular aspect of this speech, and that is in sharing with us how it felt to be mentored by Tom, what it created in her. She was very specific about the three areas of his mentorship which made a difference for her, that being encyclopedic knowledge of how the Toastmasters universe operated, full-time availability to serve as her mentor, and an approach that focused on inspiring confidence in her that she could do the work of a president. I think that she excelled in these aspects. The one thing that she can't know directly was how it impacted the rest of us in the club and how we felt about Jean as a president at that time. And what I will say is that it was a very exciting year. Everybody was clamoring for speech assignment slots. People were giving speeches. Evaluations were being done. The club was coming. And that was partly, in fact, a major part of the reason was Tom's encyclopedic knowledge, his full-time availability to mentor Jean, and Jean took the inspiration that he offered that she could do it. What she might want to work on, Jean, to make this speech even better, would be spending some time explaining how President's Distinguished Club, how the accomplishment of that by the club affected other club members, and how the meetings went as a result of the skill you were developing as a club president. To challenge yourself, I thought you might want to discuss some area that you consider yourself weaker in, and how his mentoring affected your performance in that phase of being a club president. Beyond that, this is a dynamite speech. Back to you, Madam Gentleman, if I am good.
Thank you so much, Art. Now I'll check with Jean, which will be the evaluator for table topics. Jean, are you ready to give your evaluation?
Yes, I am. I didn't get a chance to be all Twitter-pated after giving my speech when I suddenly realized, no, you got to go evaluate table topics. No Twitter-pation allowed. Okay. So thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Alex had the question, a favorite thing about spring. Now, I didn't catch whether it was a favorite as in one thing, like your favorite thing, or whether it was favorite things, plural. If it happened to be one thing, then my suggestion would be to pick one thing. Think about it and pick one thing and then really get into it and compare and contrast with something else, but if it was favorite things, plural, then I felt that Alex gave a good overview of favorite things in the springtime. And I liked her humor about not really being built for cold weather. So just like, I'm not that flower. I can't go through these winters. I can't wait to get out of all these clothes. By the way, is someone timing me for 3 to 4 minutes? I think that's what we need.
Yep.
Or is 2 to 3? Let's see how many I have. Yeah, I think I get 3 to 4. Okay. Karthik had the question about special traditions and activities in the spring. I like that he gave us a contrast of spring here versus spring where he was from. My suggestion, and it was a slight suggestion, was he did bring in the kayaking as a new activity that he has found out about and wants to explore more. My thinking would be that maybe to get to that kayaking story sooner, and what did he like about kayaking, and what did he hope to do with kayaking, and what was he learning about kayaking, because that was fun. Vivek had the question, springtime is a time to try new things. What did he think about that? And he had a very nice flower analogy. I always like analogies or metaphor of flowers that are opening in the spring. It's also time when people are opening up, and he gave examples of balmy weather, yay, the word of the night, longer days, and people having fun. So I felt like he backed up that, even though he wasn't saying what was a new thing he might be interested in, but he was giving a pretty good case for why this is a good time when people try new things. And I like the picture that he was painting. Always nice to paint a good picture. Dan had the question about favorite spring flower. Love that story. Didn't know that story about him with the iris and his mother's thing. My suggestion for Dan was some gestures. You could have had some really good, like choking gestures, like the Bermuda grass is encroaching on the flowers and, choking out the irises, and Dan is just beating them off and trying to get rid of them and dig them up. That could be fun just to play with. That would be a suggestion for Dan. Sean had the question about how to prepare for springtime changes. Now, I got a little confused because he started out saying he didn't really like spring. He likes fall. He's a fall guy. Now, that would be a good setup to explain, compare, and contrast. Spring has this, but it doesn't have this that I like in the fall. And so that's why I'm a fall guy. So that's where I was going. But then he seemed to kind of get some enthusiasm for spring itself. And of course, doing something with Sue and Treya on the trails and everything. So at the end, he said something like, and so we love spring. So I just thought, well, it's good that he loves where we are right now. And so that would be the only thing I hiccuped a little bit on was that part. And finally, Josephine had the question about where would she like to experience spring. I love this talk because she was very specific, not just but Durban, South Africa. And she gave a lot of sensory input. So she liked the breeze coming in. She liked seeing the ocean, the Indian Ocean, not just the ocean, the Indian Ocean. And the jacaranda. I don't know if jacaranda have aromas. I kind of started getting a flower aroma going in my nose, even though I didn't know that for a fact. So I liked that she was specific and she was involving the senses and painting those pictures for us. And that's all. I didn't get a chance to write a suggestion for her, but it was a very good maiden voyage there, Josephine, with us. That's it.
Thank you so much, Jean. I'll check again with our timer if our evaluators qualify tonight.
Art had a time of 4:06 and Jean had a time of 4:31.
Oh,
Okay, so we have only one evaluator qualifying tonight.
what was Art's?
4:06.
No, that's a disqualification.
Oh, okay, because it's 2 to 3. That's right. All
Right.
right.
And mine was a 1 second over disqualification. And that's it. You can't cry. That's what happened. So none of the evaluators.
Okay, so no votes for best evaluator. So we'll move forward to the next part of our meeting, which will be giving the meeting to our general evaluator, who is Jean Craig. Jean, could you please take over?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I'm going to request the end of meeting reports. And let's start off with our timers report from Sean.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. So I am very pleased to start off with Jean, who knocked it out of the park at 6 minutes and 54 seconds. And Alex was in at 1:29, followed with Karthik at 1:29, Vivek at 2:11, Dan was at 2:07, and I believe I was at 2:16, and Josephine was at 1 minute 37 seconds. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Sean. Let's hear from our grammarian, Karthik.
So I heard twice the word of the day bombing, once by Bibek and the other time by Sean. Regarding the regarding the words that I noted today, I noted that during the speech by Jean, she mentioned at the helm of, to keep the momentum rolling, and run by him, which is something that I don't use often, so it was new to me. Then he had modeled how to be an effective mentor. And then during Dan's speech, he mentioned the word vigor, like it grows everywhere with vigor, and choke out. And then Josephine used enlightenment. And during evaluation, Jean mentioned painting the picture and flower aromas. These are two words that I don't use often, so it was new to me. So that's the report. General evaluator.
Thank you, Karthik. Now, Bibek, could you give us the accountant's report?
Sure, my pleasure. Okay, so here goes the report. Alex, who is our Toastmaster for today? She had 3 R and 2 repeats. Art was almost flawless, except for the part where he had 2 repeats. Jean, she had 4 R, mostly during evaluation session, and 1 repeat. Susan, she had 2 R. Karthik had 6 R. Was his favorite. He had 11 and repeat is another favorite. Next, it is 7 repeat. Okay, that's it. But Karthik is gradually improving. I can see his improvement because I was the counter couple of weeks back, and compared to that, I think I can hear my voice back. Somebody is on mute. Maybe. Okay. And I really like the progress that Karthik is making because previously it was many errors. Now it is very less. And then he had 1 R and 1 repeat. Son had 1 repeat. And Josephine, our guest, she had 1 R, but she had 4 repeats. So I suggest her to look out for repeats. Thank you.
Could you say that again, Bebek? What she had what now?
He had 4 repeats.
Repeats. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Bibek. As long as you're warmed up, let's hear from you again. You're going to give us a joke.
Oh, yes. Who is excited for the joke? I have got a great list of jokes. Now, I'm going to involve all of you. I'm not like I'll only tell a joke. The jokes are like, can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I too loud? Jean is signaling like.
No, a little slower.
Okay.
You're excited. I know. So
I'm very enthusiastic for my jokes. Like
I know. I know.
I have great sort of jokes. Okay. So the wait is finally over, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll involve all of you. So I'll ask questions and you guys will tell me the answers and I will tell the right one. So it is sort of riddle. Okay. So why was Cinderella so bad at soccer? Why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
Too bad at soccer?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll not wait too long. I'll just wait around 10 seconds, I think, because I have many questions. Anyone? Because she kept running away from the ball. Like around
Away from the ball.
Okay. What's red and bad for your teeth.
Could you repeat
What
that
is
again?
red?
Red,
What is red?
What is
Red and bad for your teeth.
bad for your teeth.
A brick.
sorry?
A brick?
Brick? Oh,
Okay. Did you hear the rumor about the bottle? Anybody? Anybody hear any rumor about the bottle?
The water?
The bottle.
butter.
Here.
Bottle.
Something about spreading around.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to spread it. Never mind.
Alright.
I'm not going to spread it.
Yeah.
Okay. Another. So why can't the nose be 12 inches long? Why cannot the nose be 12 inches long?
2 inches long?
12. 12
12.
inches.
12 inches.
It would be a foot.
Ah, Sue got it.
I've heard that one before.
Wow.
What? Okay. Why did the strawberry cry? Why
Can you
did
repeat yourself?
the strawberry cry?
Why
Strawberry?
did what is that third
Strawberry.
word?
Strawberry
Strawberry?
Strawberry, yep.
cry. Yes.
Cry.
Why did it cry? Because it found itself in a jam.
Oh. Found itself in a jam. All right.
Okay. So the last one. I have got others also, but I'll keep track of the time.
Yeah.
And so why did the bicycle fall over? Why did the bicycle fall over?
All over, okay.
Hmm. Because it was too tired.
Too tired. Too tired. Okay.
Okay, you
Good,
saved the
that's
best for last.
Good, good.
Thank
Okay,
you,
one
Vivek.
last one. One last one. Okay. So I ordered an egg and chicken online. I'll let you know what comes first. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Subtle. Subtle.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, Vivek.
Mhm.
We enjoyed your jokes almost as much as you enjoyed your jokes. Good job. As general evaluator, my last job is to evaluate the evaluators. I'm going to start with Art, who is evaluating Jean's speech. I thought that Art would enjoy being her evaluator because he was in the club at the time Jean was having this experience of being the president when she didn't feel like she was ready, but she was being mentored. I joined the club a few years later. Clubs rise and fall, but at the time Jean was talking about, there were at least 35 members, and almost every meeting had 3 speeches. So it was a very dynamic environment at that time. It's kind of inspiring to think about. But back to Art's evaluation, I liked that he appreciated what Jean had said. He gave some compliments on the way that she had given us the experience of what it was like for her to be mentored by Tom. I think I will mention one quick thing, Art. This was an original speech. You started out saying you'd heard Jean give this speech before. She may have told the story before, but it was newly written for this project. I have inside information. I also liked that Art had some suggestions for things that she could try. For example, he said that one thing she might want to do is talk about what it meant for a club to be president distinguished. how that affected the members. That would have been interesting. I agree. And to challenge to tell something that you were weak in and how you grew. Those are good suggestions. For art, I think my main suggestion is to try to avoid as much as you can repeating content. It's good in the case where you're illustrating something that you're talking about. For example, you repeated the 3 main points that Jean gave us, and I don't think we quite needed to do that. I think another thing you might have thought of was to say that her conclusion could have perhaps wrapped those 3 points, repeated those 3 points. But all in all, I thought you did a very fine job, and we enjoyed it. Thanks, Art. Then Jean, evaluating table topics. The great thing that she does is she quickly tells us what everyone's question was. So we're all reminded of what the context was. That's really valuable in understanding the comments that follow. She had appreciation for everyone. I won't try to repeat all those things. And she had suggestions for almost everyone. I believe she had a suggestion for everyone but Josephine. Maybe Jean ran out of gas at the end. Her suggestion to me was to use gestures, which was great. I wish I could have given good gestures without fighting with the Bermuda grass. I thought that perhaps you could have given that suggestion to Josephine also. Perhaps that would have worked as a suggestion. Let's see. I don't think I have too much more to suggest to Jean. Did a great job in a short amount of time, almost made it under the wire. That's high praise for someone who never makes it under the wire, it seems. That's my evaluation of the evaluators. I'm going to send the meeting back to Alex for the meeting awards.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We had a wonderful and fun meeting tonight. Thanks, Jean, for such inspiring speech. And thanks, Sue, for the great variety of questions and keeping us looking forward for springtime. So now we have the best part of our meeting here is giving away our awards. So tonight we're going to have one award for, well, actually 2 awards. We're going to have the first one for Best Speaker of the Night. So let's have some drum rolls here. And the best speaker would be Jean. Woohoo! All right, and then let's get some drum rolls going here for our best table topic speaker. And that will be our guest, Josephine. What a great way to start. Congratulations. And thanks everyone for your participation, and thanks for our honored guest for also participating in our table topics. And with that, I'll turn the meeting to our president, Den.
Thank you, Alex. You did a fine job as Toastmaster tonight. A good example for all of us. I also want to mention that Sue's table topic questions were really wonderful, in my opinion. They were brief enough and specific enough that people could just take off. That's a nice hallmark of an excellent table topic session. Before we wrap up the meeting, I'm going to ask Josephine to speak again. Could you tell us one thing that you liked about the meeting, please?
I was muted, so you didn't hear my first Not enjoyed observing all the participation. Everyone seemed to participate fully, well-prepared speeches. I really enjoyed the table topics. However, one paused and gave very, very good expressions for their question. And I must say that I was very surprised that you thought that that my table topic talk was good. That's one thing that I am here to work on. That is confidence in speaking. And I feel that working with a group like this, that I will quickly overcome any obstacles I have with speaking spontaneously. I enjoyed the meeting. It was absolutely wonderful. This was my first meeting, and I just talked to someone at my home meeting in Georgia, and I was informed that they are planning to have Zoom meetings. So I am going to sort of wait and see if they start that, and they do, that I may actually join that meeting. But in the meantime, I will participate in your meetings. Thank you for letting me share, and possibly I'll see you on next week.
Good.
Very good. We're glad to have you, and please come back as often as you like. Just so you know, the Zoom link is the same every week. So
Okay.
the email that you got, that link will continue. If you like, I can put you on the email distribution so you see the agendas.
Please do. Yes.
And I was secretly hoping that Josephine would tell she loved my jokes, but she didn't.
Vivek, that was the second thing that she really loved about the meeting, but
Yeah.
she stuck to the main topic, like a good Toastmaster.
Yeah.
Let's see, we've got a little bit of time. Do we have any speeches that we need to schedule? We've got Alex scheduled to speak next week, I think. And beyond that, I don't think we have speeches scheduled. So keep in mind, all of you, to let me know as VP of Education when you're ready to do a speech. It's fun, whatever the meeting is. An all table topics meeting is a lot of fun, but when there are speakers, there's just an extra element that's quite good. And giving those prepared speeches is a different kind of skill, and you learn the different aspects of speaking from dealing with pathways. And so that's an important part of our Toastmaster experience. Let's see, anything else? Next meeting will be the...
I was late to the
Yes,
meeting this week.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know if the roles have changed. Like she's I thought Alex is the VP of Education, but you mentioned
No.
No, Alex is the VP of Membership.
oh
That's what it is.
Okay.
I'm the VP of Education.
okay.
It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's like there's a rule of succession, just like in elected offices in Washington, I guess you'd say. The
Okay.
president is on top, and the vice president of education is kind of like the main vice president. Well, you know. So it's my job to step in when he can't be here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? I think what I'll do, since we don't have anything that is coming up, is go ahead and adjourn the meeting just 2 or 3 minutes early. But as usual, anybody who wants to stick around and talk, we'd encourage you to do that. Our meeting is adjourned.